What would you do if the man sobbing uncontrollably at your wife's funeral loved her more than you ever did? Or at least, that's what everyone in the room believed. The chapel on Wilshire Boulevard was too quiet for grief that loud. I stood there, hands stiff at my sides, watching a stranger collapse against her casket like his world had just ended. People turned, whispering, confused, judging me without saying it out loud. Why wasn't I the one breaking apart? Why did I look calm? Because 3 weeks before she died, I found out exactly who he was, and how long they had been laughing behind my back. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. It didn't start with a confession. It started with silence. Emily used to fill the apartment with noise. Music in the kitchen, humming in the shower, random conversations about nothing while we lay in bed on our phones. Then one night in our place off Sunset Boulevard, the silence crept in like something alive. She was sitting on the couch, phone tilted away from me, her thumb moving faster than usual. "Who are you texting?" I asked casually. "No one important," she said, not looking up. That was the first lie I caught. Not because of what she said, but because of how quickly she said it. After that, everything shifted. She started taking calls in the hallway, smiling at messages she wouldn't show me, locking her phone when she never used to, coming home later from work dinners at places I'd never heard her mention before. I told myself I was overthinking it, that marriage goes through phases, that people change, but the receipts didn't lie. Literally. It was a crumpled receipt I found in her coat pocket one night while doing laundry. A valet ticket from a hotel in downtown Los Angeles. The kind of place we couldn't afford and never went to. I waited until she fell asleep, then unlocked her phone using the passcode I watched her type 100 times before. That's when everything broke. Messages. Hundreds of them. A name saved as Lena from Pilates. It wasn't Lena. It was Daniel. "I miss your lips. Last night wasn't enough. I wish he knew how pathetic he looks next to you." I sat there in the dark, the screen lighting up my face, reading my own humiliation line by line. My hands were shaking so hard, I almost dropped the phone. There were photos too. Not explicit. Just enough. His hand on her thigh in a restaurant booth. Her leaning into him, smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. A mirror selfie in that same hotel room from the receipt. I wanted to wake her up. Scream. Break something. Instead, I locked the phone, put it back exactly where it was, and laid there staring at the ceiling until morning. That was the night I stopped being her husband and started becoming something else. The next morning, she kissed me goodbye like nothing had happened. "I'll be late tonight," she said. "Big client meeting." "Of course," I replied, smiling like a man who hadn't just watched his entire life collapse. I followed her that night. She drove past her office, past the usual route, straight to a parking garage on Olive Street. And he was already waiting. Daniel looked exactly like I expected. Clean cut, confident, the kind of guy who thought rules didn't apply to him. He kissed her before she even fully stepped out of the car. I watched from across the street, sitting in my own car, invisible. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. Not rage, not heartbreak, just clarity. I didn't confront her. Not then. Not ever, actually. Instead, I started collecting. Screenshots, call logs, location history, hotel bookings, bank statements. I hired a private investigator who handed me a folder so thick it felt like a novel. Every lie documented, every meeting recorded, every betrayal timestamped. But proof wasn't enough. I wanted consequence. Emily thought she was untouchable. She came from money. Her father had connections in Los Angeles courts. Daniel was a partner at a law firm downtown. They thought they were smarter than everyone else. They thought I was weak. So I played the part. I became quieter, more distant, easier to manipulate. I let her believe she was winning, that I was too blind or too broken to see what was happening. Meanwhile, I met with my own lawyer. I moved assets, secured accounts, built a case so airtight that when it came time, there would be no escape. The humiliation I felt, I turned it into patience. Then came the night everything ended. Emily had planned a dinner. To reconnect, she said. A restaurant on Melrose. Candlelight. Soft music. The kind of setting where people pretend everything is okay. Halfway through dinner, she reached across the table. "I feel like we've been distant," she said. "I want us to fix this." I almost laughed. Instead, I nodded. "I agree," I said. "I think we should." Then I slid an envelope across the table. Her smile faded slightly. What's this? Just something I think you should see. She opened it slowly. Photos, messages, hotel records, all of it. Her face drained of color as she flipped through them. Where did you? I know everything, I said calmly. Silence. Then came the performance. Tears, denials, blame. It didn't mean anything. You've been distant too. I was confused. I let her talk. Let her dig herself deeper. Then I leaned in slightly. I've already filed, I said quietly. That's when the fear hit her. What? Divorce. Full evidence submitted, including financial misconduct. Her voice cracked. You can't do that. I already did. But the real damage wasn't legal. It was public. Because the next morning, Daniel's wife received an anonymous package. And his firm received one too. By the end of the week, he was suspended, then fired. Emily's father couldn't protect her from everything, especially not the scandal that spread through their social circle like wildfire. Friends stopped calling. Invitations disappeared. Her name became something people whispered about, not welcomed. She lost more than me. She lost everything she thought she was. And Daniel? He vanished. No grand apology. No standing by her side. Just gone. Exactly the kind of man I knew he was. The stress got to her. I didn't expect that part. 3 weeks later, I got the call. Car accident. Late at night. Rain-slick roads near Santa Monica. They said she lost control. By the time I got to the hospital, she was already gone. And now here I was, standing at her funeral, watching the man who helped destroy my marriage cry like he had lost the love of his life. No one knew who he was, except me. And as I looked at him, shaking, broken, clutching the edge of her casket, I realized something strange. He wasn't crying for her. He was crying for himself, for the life he lost, the reputation, the illusion, just like she had. I didn't cry that day, not because I didn't feel anything, but because I had already mourned her long before she died. And as people slowly left the chapel, their whispers fading into the Los Angeles evening, I stood there alone for a moment, looking at the woman I once loved, now nothing more than silence. Then I turned and walked out without saying goodbye, because the truth is, she had already left me long before I ever got the chance to leave her. The end.